Ooh, Ian, are we officially the worst franchise of football?
I don't know. That's what social media says. I would have to agree, probably.
Yeah, at this point, it's agreeable. I mean, you can't deny it. Before we were able to kind of sugarcoat it, find some sort of excuses to make us not be as bad as we think we are, but we'll get into that in today's episode. You ready to get it started, man?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
Touchdown, Carolina! You're listening to the Buzz Pound.
Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
A Queen City sports podcast covering your Charlotte Hornets and Carolina Panthers.
Halliburton, nowhere to go! LaMelo's done it! LaMelo's done it! Hornets win! Here comes LaMelo.
Here are your hosts, Ian Blair and Cam Gardner.
Thank you for joining episode 6 today of the Buzz Pound. We appreciate you all for still sticking with us. And if you keep on sticking with us, we'll keep on bringing content for you guys. Ian, same story, different week. What you think?
Yeah, obviously Panthers dropping to 1-4, losing against Chicago in a game where Caleb Williams had a little bit of a coming out party. Had a really good game, and we started off hot with a touchdown run from Chuba Hubbard. But besides that, on offense, it was just kind of not a lot moving. And as I mentioned, Caleb Williams played really well. I think he kind of showed why he was the number one overall pick in this last year's draft. And DJ Moore also had a really good game. So you love just tears at your heart a little bit whenever you see a former Panther tear you up and go for 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very good watch. It was just same old, and we dropped to 1-4. And just like that, our season is pretty much just another Panther season. I thought it was interesting that Bryce Young came in for Andy Dalton later in the game and kind of looked decent, completed 4 passes, I believe, and thought that was, interesting to see. I think it was nice to see something positive from the game besides that long Chuba Hubbard run. But Cam, what are your thoughts on the game?
I mean, it would be us that Caleb Williams has this type of game against, honestly, because he hadn't had his breakout game like that yet of the season. And it would be us of all teams. I was happy for him, even as a Panther fan, we got our butts kicked, but I am a Caleb Williams fan. I will say that. And I'm sure you are as well. And then DJ Moore, like you said, former Panther, 2 touchdowns, I think 5 receptions,
Yep.
105 yards. You want to know what this reminded me of a little bit? This reminded me, particularly on DJ Moore's side, this reminded me of
I know what you're about to say.
when we played the Ravens when
Yeah.
Steve Smith first left Carolina. We
Yeah.
already knew, and we were already kind of in a slump at that point. But we went up to Baltimore, played those boys. Smitty came out and pretty much did what DJ Moore did to us. They
Yeah.
had a field day with the
Yeah.
Panthers, and that's exactly what the Chicago Bears did with us. Let's get started with some stats here. Andy Dalton, not as good of a game as he's had, honestly, nowhere near. Andy Dalton had 18 completed passes out of 28 attempts, 136 yards, and 1 interception. On the rushing side, Chuba Hubbard might have been the only decent offensive piece that we had that game. He had that 1 touchdown, obviously. He had 13 carries and 97 yards. On the receiving side, Jalen Coker, he had 4 receptions, 68 yards. Jonathan Mingo, 2 receptions, 37 yards. Miles Sanders, 2 receptions, 27 yards. And Deontay Johnson, 3 receptions, 23 yards. So you hear all that. None of the receivers had receiving touchdowns. That's not a good look, honestly. It's just, if we're being honest, none of our supposed weapons cooked at all this game. And even Dalton had a hard time getting down the field this game. It amazed me, not amazed me, but I expected a little more out of him being the veteran quarterback.
Mhm.
But it's just like I always say, that's the story of the Panthers. I mean, you have a start of a bad season, have 1 or 2 good games, and then it's back to where we were, back to square one.
Mhm.
Final score 36-10, 1 touchdown and a field goal. That's all we put up on the board. Man, at this point, I think we're back to square one, especially after losing a bit. Obviously, defense was dog water for us. We kind of saw that coming. We discussed that a little bit last episode, especially losing Derrick Brown and then Shaq Thompson, our 2 main veterans of our team.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the defense and the team in general is young outside of a few players. But man, it was tough to see that, and it makes you nervous moving forward. We thought we had a little something cooking. Obviously, we knew we weren't going to advance tremendously the rest of the season, but we thought there was something there to at least have a few sparks. But the way the defense is and just seeing where the offense was this past week, it's not looking too good, man. I think we're back to square one at this point, and I'm not
Yeah.
really sure what the offseason may look like. And like you said, Bryce Young into the game, they ended up taking out Andy Dalton. He had 4 completed passes out of 7 attempts and 58 yards in that little bit of time. I think it was like the final 4 minutes or so that he got
Yeah.
put in.
It was garbage time.
It was at that point. I mean, we're already getting our butts kicked, so why not throw him in there?
No, I think I agree with everything you said. I think just to mention, we say the same things every week with the Panthers losing, but one bright spot on the team, I think, really that hasn't got a lot of credit up to this point in the year is Chuba Hubbard. I mean, he's 5th in the league through 5 weeks in rushing yards. I believe he has 300 and something yards, but he's 5th in the league in rushing yards through 5 weeks. I mean, this week, as you mentioned, he had 13 carries, 97 yards, averaged 7.5 yards per carry on a decent Bears defense. I think, Chuba hasn't been getting the credit really that he deserves just because he plays on a really bad team, unfortunately. But especially with, hopefully we still have Jonathan Brooks coming back at some point this year. Should be within the next couple of weeks, the rookie out of Texas, and hopefully he can, take some of the load off of Chuba. But Chuba looks really good this year. Every time I see him, he's carrying the ball really well, and our offensive line's played good up to this point. Unfortunately, we lost Austin Corbett, our center, to a season-ending injury this past week, and the injury bug just continues to just destroy our team. The strength and conditioning staff, I don't know what they're doing in there, but it's not good. And obviously, Jadeveon Clowney went down for a little bit. Tommy Tremble, I don't know if you saw, but had a very ugly, looked like, I think he got knocked out for a second or two. Jaquan Brisker made a hit on him, and pretty much, Tommy fumbled and was ruled out with a concussion. So we hope he's all right. I hate to see head injuries, especially in football. There's so many of them, but we're hoping Tommy can come back soon, hopefully, and wishing for a quick recovery for all the guys that are on our team that are hurt. Unfortunately, they're dropping like flies, and it's unfortunate to see, but what can we do? We got the Falcons this week. The Falcons are looking like a really good team, honestly. They beat the Bucks in overtime last Thursday, which was a great game. I don't know if you were able to see that game, but it was great and going to be an interesting matchup. Cam, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I watched that game from beginning to end. I watch, our fellow NFC South teams just to see how they're doing. So seeing that matchup, Kirk Cousins had quite a game there. 509 yards. He is about to have a field day with us.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a stat like that again, the way our defense is looking right now after this past game against Chicago. So Kirk Chains, he's about to really make us look even worse, I think, than last week. I think it's not even going to be – I'm not even sure if we'll even put up a touchdown this time unless Chuba Hubbard just happens to get another one, because right now, unless Dalton comes back out and has a somewhat of a better game, or at least similar to first two, maybe we could keep up just a little bit. We're not winning this game. I could put my foot down and say that now. We are not winning that game. And that was another point for me when it came to that Chicago game. That was one of those must-win games, in my personal opinion, because our schedule is not getting any easier. Obviously, we're about to play Atlanta, and we have a lot more competition coming up moving forward. I mean, it's really no shot of anything for us at this point. So I'm expecting another blowout game personally, because like you said, Atlanta's looking like a good team. And after that, we play Washington. We see what Jaden Daniels is doing up there. Got the Broncos after that. Hit or miss game there. Then we got the Saints. Not really sure what's going on there. So, I mean, like I said, it's just the competition is not getting any easier for us for where we are. So that's honestly where I am with this.
Yeah. I mean, it's another year. It's looking like we're moving closer and closer to a top 3 pick again. Well, we would have been top 3 last year if we didn't trade away our pick. But my point being is at least we have our pick this year. It's looking just another year, man, where it's frustrating to watch. And it's just, there's not a whole lot to say. It's you go in every year hoping for the best, and the team just lets you down by week 6. So anyway, moving towards, obviously, basketball season's right around the corner. Preseason for the NBA started, and our beloved Hornets have looked actually pretty good through 2 games. Cam, do you want to kind of go into that?
Yeah, we finally got some real hoop news to talk about. Preseason has started, completed games 1 and 2 already for the preseason. Game 1 against the New York Knicks. We lost that game. The final score was 111 to 109, but it was not a bad loss by any means. Both games starting lineup so far for this preseason was LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Josh Green, Miles Bridges, and Nick Richards. So for game one against the Knicks, that stat line was LaMelo Ball, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Your guy, Trey Mann, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Brandon Miller, arguably breakout player of the year, hopefully, 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And Tijon Salon, 11 points, 1 rebound. That was somewhat of a shocker for the first game. And fun fact about that game, your guy Trey Mann, he dropped 15 points in 16 minutes. That's a bad cat right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing from him. And
I've been hyping him up since the podcast started, I think. Speaking on Trey Mann a little bit, obviously the team, it's good to see, LaMelo come back healthy. Obviously 18 points against the Knicks in the preseason, albeit, but the team looks pretty good overall so far, knock on wood. Trey Mann, 6-man, hopefully, potential 6-man of the year. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a homer, but obviously 15 points, shot 3 of 4 from 3-point range, 6 of 8 overall. And, off the bench, we really need that scoring. And it's nice to see. Looks a little bit like I saw the way he, because he got the baggy jersey and the baggy shorts. I seen Allen Iverson comparisons because he's got the headbands.
Yeah.
But at least the way he dresses now, I don't know. But yeah, it was good to see him play, and take that next step this offseason.
Yeah, no, he's definitely in his Allen Iverson phase right now.
Yeah.
Even the way he's dressing off the court, he's wearing the baggy tees, the baggy
Yeah.
jeans, the Timbs or the Reeboks. He got the braids going, got the headband. I mean, It's a pretty good spitting image. Hopefully, obviously he won't be AI. There's only one AI when it comes to basketball. But hopefully that inspiration can help him and help us because we definitely need somebody like that. So hopefully he'll be able to help us for the long run. Now, moving on to game 2 versus Miami. Another close game, we got the win. Final score ended up being 111 to 108. That stat line there was LaMelo Ball with 24 points. And let me actually go back for a second. That starting lineup was the same with Ball, Miller, Green, Bridges, and Richards. Now moving on to the stats. Ball, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Bridges had a pretty good game. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. Your guy again, Trey Mann, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. And last but not least, the rookie again, Tijon Salon, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. That's a pretty good stat line for the rookie. Obviously, he may still learn a bit. He may not play full minutes, but what I saw from him, he's got some fire in him. And I like what I'm seeing. I didn't, especially coming from a player I didn't really know much about. I think most Hornet fans didn't know much about him. Coming from France and all, he, a lot of us were questioning, like, who is this guy? What can he do? And obviously big body, but he looks like he's a guy that can do it all. He can shoot. He can take it to the rim. He can play some defense there. So I hope to see some more of that in the actual season because he could be something special if he's doing this early. And another fun fact, the kid is only 19 years old doing that.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, obviously coming from overseas, he was already playing pro. But man, to be 19 and scoring like that against a team like the Knicks, who are dogs. I mean, you got Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns now, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. I mean, that's not a team that, you can score easily on. So seeing that from him impressed me a bit. So a few fun facts about this particular game. LaMelo Ball, he actually had a great game, obviously. 24.6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 threes in the first quarter. And then you had the clutch block to secure the win in the end, which I cannot remember the guy's name at the moment. But regardless, it was just great to see some decent dynamic basketball from our beloved Charlotte Hornets because we deserve a decent team after all these years.
Yeah. We deserve a decent team in Charlotte, honestly.
Well, yeah, let's just put it like that because the Panthers are not giving it. That little team, actually, I'm at that point, that little team down the street at Bank of America Stadium, they aren't giving it to us. So hopefully our Hornets can give us something to smile about this year.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I saw something that Tijon Salon was, still learning, wasn't going to have a big role. And that was before these 2 preseason games where he looked really good. I mean, he shot the ball really well. This past game, he made 4 threes, 4 of 7. And he's looking really good. He's looking like he's coming along really fast, at least, early on. It is preseason. The rotation for this game was like 15 man. We're playing like a deep rotation. It's not the regular rotation you're going to see during the regular season, but it was nice to see him play well. And, hopefully moving forward, he looks like the real deal. Obviously, we drafted him very early, so I'm hoping for the best for him. And it was nice to see LaMelo score 24. Once again, going back, it's just so nice to see, knock on wood, that everybody's healthy besides Mark Williams. And it's just nice to see what we're able to do. And hopefully the injury bug could stay away. It's already hit one of our teams in Charlotte. Hopefully it could stay away from the Hornets. Just stay away. We don't need any of that injury stuff. And if the team stays healthy or relatively healthy, you always have one or two injuries. But if we could stay fairly healthy, this team, I think, is going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, that's all I've wanted from these guys since the last time they were in the playoffs, which was, I believe, 2016. So, and we had chances, obviously, within the past handful of years, 2 times getting into the play-in. But hopefully we can have a year and make some noise in the league. I mean, obviously the East is pretty stacked now, so we got competition. But I do think we can at least hopefully be a 6 team or so, even if we got to go through the play-in somewhere in there, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But like you said, as long as the injury bug can stay away, hopefully LaMelo Ball has his ankle situation figured out. Hopefully, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be wearing some ankle braces. I know he said the same thing last year, but hopefully he found some that actually feel decent, because obviously we've seen players who had ankle injury problems. And there's one specifically talk about who is the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Early in his career, he had ankle injuries. And once he started wearing those braces, look where he is now. I mean, obviously, you get injuries here and there, but it's not anywhere near what it used to be. So they obviously make a difference. Trae Young's another one. I know he didn't have really a whole lot of ankle injuries, but he wears them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very effective. So as long as LaMelo Ball can wear some and have something to give him some ankle support, hopefully he can stay healthy. Him, Miller. I mean, obviously those are 2 main, duo players of the team. But speaking of the players, let's move on to a topic I would like us to discuss a little bit. From these 2 games, obviously there are some standout players. You got your basic LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller. They're the obvious. Your guy Trey Mann. I mean, he really looked good coming off the bench. I mean, I was happy when we got him last year. After these few games, I was looking at some of the comments on social media and such, and there's a lot of Oklahoma fans that are actually upset he's gone. So
yeah.
we got a special player.
Yep.
And, sometimes you got to remember that trade. Like, we got him out of the Gordon Hayward trade.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that may not have been a fair trade on their end, but it sure benefited us because he is a great asset to have.
Yeah. Yep.
And for me, my standout was Tijon Salon. Again, 19-year-old kid from France, drafted at the 6th in the 2024 draft. 15 points. Yeah, he had 3 3-pointers, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. And even Charles Lee said himself, the new head coach, that he saw the eye of the tiger in him. And that's in quotations from him. I think it surprised him a bit himself in that debut, because that's pretty impressive from a rookie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your first 2 games, even in preseason, it's nice to see. It's nice to see, especially I had my hopes, lowered a little bit whenever I saw the reports that he's, might not get a ton of playing time, and, he's still got a ton to learn, but I think there's no way you don't at least give him some minutes, early in the regular season to see if he can carry some of this momentum over into the regular season and, continue his development. But obviously coming up, we got a game on Thursday versus the Grizzlies at the time of recording this, Thursday. What kind of are some of your expectations going into this 3rd preseason game?
I'm hoping for another good standout game for our guys. I mean, obviously the Grizzlies are no slouch of a team either. Obviously their star, Ja Morant, I know he had a little injury the last game with his foot or ankle something, but I think he came back out and played. But again, they're no slouch. They're a pretty solid team for the most part. I know they made a few moves this past season, so we'll just have to see what they are now. But I think we can keep up for the most part. We have talent to keep up.
Yeah.
More so than where we were last year this time, because this time last year started off decent, but then we really hit a wall of a losing streak. I mean, we only won like 21 games last year, I think.
Yeah.
So
something that wasn't very good, and obviously the injury bug really killed us last year. So
yeah, and a lot of people have them ranked of having a similar year this year, but I really think we revamped enough to have some more wins than that. Hopefully, a bit more. But I think it'll be another close game. I can't really call who may win it. If our defense locks in like last time, because again, the Grizzlies are no slouch. They can score. You got Ja Morant. You got Marcus Smart is still on that team. I'm not sure if he's playing currently. Then forgot the guy they just drafted, the big guy.
Zach
Can't remember
Edey.
his name. Yeah, Zach Edey. That's another good piece for them. So we just have to see, and we got to see how they mesh together, the court together. But I think it'll be kind of like the games the past 2 games, honestly. What about you? What are your thoughts there?
So I'm not super caught up in the wins and losses, especially at least for preseason. It's kind of one of those to work out the kinks. I just want to see him, continuous improvement from our guys. I want to see, some flashes, continue to see flashes from Salon and, Trey Mann and all these guys are going to play important roles on our team come regular season. I think, it's good chemistry building for the team. Obviously, Brandon Miller and LaMelo haven't played a ton together. I mean, they practiced together quite a bit, but they haven't had, game experience. I think preseason's a great opportunity for these guys to gain chemistry with one another and build something going into regular season, which starts on the 23rd. And I'm looking forward to it. They play in Atlanta on game 2. So, and I will be going to that game. So I'm looking forward, hopefully the team continues to improve throughout this preseason and into the regular season.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. I mean, the last 2 games were very satisfying to see. A handful of our players have good games, good stat sheets. So let's just hope that it can, like you said, transition into the regular season, and hopefully it'll be a good year because us diehard Charlotte sports fans need something right now.
Yeah.
The Panthers are not doing it. So all we got right now is hope in, well, let's just say Carolina sports fans right now, all we got is hope in the Hornets. And hopefully the Canes can do something this year.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. We always look forward to the Canes. Obviously, we've been chasing a championship. We've been chasing a Stanley Cup for quite some time, and just can't get over the hump. It's make it to the playoffs and then lose, and it's rough. But anyway, Cam, you got anything else to finish this up?
Just some other small Hornet news. As I expected, the Hornets waived Dwayne Washington Jr., who was obtained from the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. So that's another person that's not on the roster anymore. I think he played in the Knicks game, actually, game 1. So, but yeah, he's gonzo at this point. So, like I said, minor news, but that's the last bit of Hornets news that I have for today.
It's kind of what we expected, coming out of the trade is kind of some of those pieces that we didn't really think were going to make the roster, but no surprises there, at least for me. Buzzpound, we appreciate every single one of y'all for continuing to show your support. We would definitely appreciate if you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Buzzpound Podcast and give us a like and review. We're open to any and every feedback you give us, and we really appreciate y'all coming back each and every week to at least give us a shot. And as always, you can find us on our social medias, both X and Instagram at Buzzpound Pod. And you can find us on Spotify and YouTube at Buzzpound Podcast.
Like Ian said, we appreciate all the supporters, all the reviews we get, all the, remarks we get from everybody. Oh, I will say, Ian, you don't know about this, but I want to give a special shout out to DJ Rod Razor, aka New York. If you know, you know that he is a guy. He told us he was supporting us and promised I would give him a shout out. So New York, this one's for you.
Oh, awesome. Appreciate you, New York. Miss everybody back at the old place. And it's nice that everybody's supporting us and, listening to us and giving us their time.
For certain. Well, everybody, this is the Buzz Pound. Keep pounding in Buzz City.
Right! Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Buzz Pound. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and let us know what you thought of this episode. Until next time, this is the Buzz Pound.
Touchdown!